Good morning, watch nerds, and a special hello to all my subscribers, and I hope both of you are well. There's been some confusion regarding the brand name of this watch, so let's put this straight. IXDAO is the brand name, and IPOSE is simply the name of a Chinese watch community, well, of some description, or so I believe. However, on the dial it reads IXDAO and IPOSE. The watch without doubt is a homage to another watch that uses the 5303 in its title, but not an exact clone, especially as the original doesn't have a date and the bezel markings differ. The original costs above 5 times as much as this, and by all accounts it's no better, especially as the movement they use has issues, or did have issues. It may upset some people, but it's not actually unusual for a homage to be as good or even better than the original, is it, Seiko? I've said it before, I'm no great lover of homages, but this watch looks so damn good I just couldn't help myself. You may have noticed in the title of this video that this is the version 2. The version 1 had a few bezel misalignment issues, and some of the font was different. The version 1 didn't actually have a brand name on the dial and simply read 200 meters automatic above the 6 o'clock. As mentioned, the version 2 has IXDAO and IPOSE on the dial above the 6. This doesn't bother me, but I would prefer just a logo given the choice. The version 1, however, did read Friends of IPOSE in tiny font at the bottom, which I found a little bit odd. It now reads Fabrique en Chine, which means made in China in French. Perhaps leaving that space bare would have been a better idea. And on this rather blustery day, welcome to my unpaid and unsponsored review of the IXDAO and IPOSE 5303. So here's the easy bit, let's look at the dimensions. The case is quoted at being 39mm, but actually measures 39.6mm. The lug width is 20mm, the depth is just 12.5mm, and the lug to lug, well, I measure it at 47mm. On this bracelet, it is lighter than expected and weighs about 113 grams. Now these dimensions make the watch very wearable, and they'll fit almost any wrist size. And here's the box. It's quite a rugged construction, made of plastic with the logo on top. Inside it's all nicely padded with a nice watch cushion, and as well as that, here's a 3-year warranty, although it's not dated, and as a free gift is this rather nice silicone rubber strap. Very impressed. And this is my watch of the day. It's the Tudor Black Bay 36. One of my few premium watches, and isn't it lovely? The crown is unsigned, about 7mm, screws down for its claimed 200 metre water resistance, operates the movement without issue, and whilst the engagement isn't buttery smooth, it's more than reasonable. The watch is available with 3 different movements. I plumb for the PT5000, which is actually the cheapest option, but I am very poor. You can pay extra for the Selita SW200 or even more for the ETA 2824. They're all basically the same movement though, and having owned a few watches with a PT5000 movement, I know they're generally very accurate, with good positional variance. Some of the earlier ones had some lubrication problems, but I think they've pretty much sorted that out now. It ticks away at 28,800 beats per hour. It hacks, it hand winds, and it's got a power reserve for 38 hours. In real life, this one's running at just +1 second a day. But let's see what the time grapher thinks of it. And this is dial down, a great beat error, a great amplitude, and a fantastic rate. Certainly no complaints there. The watch has got a double dome sapphire crystal with some AR coating. The case finishing is absolutely fantastic. I wouldn't look out of place on an expensive Swiss branded watch. Unusually, the top of the lugs are stepped and both satin brushed and polished, and the sides are all satin brushed. It's nicely shaped and it fits well to the back of the wrist. I particularly like the screw down case back. It's brushed, has a logo engraved, as well as some basic information on the outside. The 120 click bezel is unusual and incredibly attractive. On the version 2 the alignment is perfect, well on my one at least, and whilst it isn't the easiest to grip, the resistance matches it perfectly, so I don't really have any complaints. The Lume pip even has a sapphire cover, but what I particularly like is the combination of the outer ceramic insert and the inner stainless steel. Now let's have a quick listen. Firstly, this watch comes with a black or silver stroke white dial and a black or a blue bezel. I thought this was the nicest combination, but I'm sure not everybody's going to agree. In actual fact, it also comes with a California dial with the yellow indices. That really is quite horrible. I particularly like the dial layout because it makes the watch look slightly smaller than it really is. Now there's a colour matched date window at the 6 o'clock, but the 12 o'clock symbol looks a tad rude. Or is that me just being disgusting? There isn't any font at the top of the dial, but above the 6 o'clock it reads IXDAO IPOSE with the depth rating printed in red. As mentioned in the intro, Fabrique in China is printed in a very small font at the bottom. I believe the combination of this dial and bezel makes this watch look absolutely fantastic. But I suppose we've got a French micro brand to thank for that. The lume on this thing is crazy. IXDAO claim to have put no less than 50 layers of C3 lume on the indices, but it would appear there is slightly less on the hands. It's the type of lume that hits you right in the face when you come in from outside. Now I charged it up before I went to bed last night, and 8 hours later it was still glowing like a good one. Now let's have a look at that lume. This is a first for me, a fitted Milanese bracelet. Now the end links are solid and they fit very well to the case. The bracelet tapers down from 20mm to 15mm and is both very flexible and extremely comfortable. Now the simple locking clasp is signed, unlike the version 1. Now the back of the bracelet has got some indents making the adjustment precise. However, putting this watch on takes a certain knack. This watch is a real strap monster, and although I love this bracelet, I can see myself trying it out on different straps at some point. These are available from a few different online sources, but I bought mine from WatchDive based in China. It's listed at $259 with free express FedEx shipping, but I used a $10 voucher, bringing it down to $249. In real money that's around about £208, but if you live in the UK don't forget the additional taxes, which will take it to around about £250. In my opinion, this represents absolutely excellent value for money, but it's down to you to make your own minds up on that. Oh, and don't forget, if you want either of the Swiss movements, that's going to cost you extra. There were no QC issues when this arrived. However, I do think the hands require a little bit more lume. There are a few things I would change if a version 3 was ever made though. Firstly, I would have the crown signed, even though the original isn't. Secondly, I would have the logo under the 12 o'clock, just the depth rating above the 6 o'clock, and I would get rid of that very small print at the bottom. Other than those few things, I think this watch is brilliant. Like I said earlier, the combination of that bezel and dial is stunning. The movement choices are excellent, although I recommend you just stick with the PT5000. The bracelet is attractive and comfortable, and that lume is amazing. Honestly, this is one of the best looking dive watches in my collection. In summary, I'm totally blown away by this watch, not just because of its looks, but its overall quality and finishing. As a matter of interest, I sold my Panzera Caspian to buy it, and that's the second one of those I bought, so I really don't know what's wrong with me. That said, the Panzera is actually a very nice watch, but I just never got to bond with it and I don't know why. Now if you've an issue with homage watches, you won't like the IXDAO, but of course you do have the option to buy the original, which is going to cost you about 5 times as much. And from everything I've read, it's actually no better. It's your money, it's your choice. Now that brings me to the end of this review, so if you've enjoyed it, please click on the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, leave your comments below, and most importantly, enjoy the rest of your day.